Now then, we've dragged out this intro long enough. I think it is time to rumble. Lads, are you ready to find out your fates? Do you want to have the first match on? Well, you can sit there all day if you want. Do we want to see the first match? Yeah, I thought so. So, computer, in your time, please select our first player for the Ultimate Pool Last Man Standing with Outpatient Network for 2024. Who is it going to be? Callum Singleton! Down you come, Callum, you come. Yeah, stay on the right side of this, Philip. Carl, great to see you, mate. You're probably not thinking the same thing here. That's the nightmare draw, but first up.
What, you want me to pick now?
No. We draw your next opponent. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But how are you feeling about being first up?
I'm alright. If I win 3, get on the seat. So someone's got to win 3 after that to knock me off it. So
that's got to be the thinking. We'll see how it goes, Carl. Well, you get yourself comfy. You sit in your seat. We are going to find out who you will be playing. Computer, we're going to give you a bit of time to reset, and then please give us Callum Singleton's opponent in this first match of the Last Man Standing with Outpatient Network. Who is Singu going to play? Give me a bounty, he says. You've got yourself Joe Connolly, one of our qualifiers from Ultimate Pool Ireland. In you come, Joe. Only qualified for this event just last weekend, Joe Connolly, and he is first up in the big show. Welcome to the Last Man Standing, mate. I'd imagine you wanted to wait a little while until you got your hand on the table first, but excited to go?
Lovely, yeah. I'm just delighted. Can't wait.
7 days ago, 7 days ago, nothing was in your calendar for this weekend, and now you're here. It must be quite a strange feeling.
Brilliant. Just bring it on.
Well, that is the attitude you're going to need, Joe. Best of luck, mate. Enjoy it. Joe Connolly versus Callum Singleton is our first match, and it's next.
Joe Connolly, what a chance this is.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out as well, we are playing 20-minute matches, races to 4 as well. So whilst we can say it's a good draw for Callum Singleton here because he's playing a qualifier, it's everybody in this tournament can beat everybody in this tournament in a race to 4.
Yeah, it's a very quick format, isn't it? And I mean, actually, that's ideal if you're a qualifier because maybe you're not expecting to win over a long distance against any of these boys, but really anybody in the 32 men could win a match here. It's a tough one as well for Joe because he's not going to have had any time out in the arena. 32 players here, so it's not like there was time for practicing out there beforehand. So new setup, new table.
I suspect though Joe would have come in as a qualifier that, you know, going off last year's kind of MO, most players kind of worked, especially Tom, worked his way up from the bottom up, and he's a qualifier. So I think Joe probably would have come here expecting to play pretty early in the day. If he missed his random, you know, if he didn't get the random draw, he may have thought, oh, I might be one of the early ones called out. So I suspect he was ready to play. But we're just slight delay here. I'm not sure what's happening out in the arena, but they are just being told just to wait for a second while something's fixed. But with Callum, looking at the way this tournament sets up, I know that Tom Cousins won the tournament last year, and obviously he's the established number 1. But this is a tournament I look at and I think this is primed for those players that are on the fringes of winning tournaments to actually kind of steal one away, which might set them away and might turn up in the Pro Series in a few weeks' time and take that down as well. It's sort of a great chance.
There's no better chance really, because if you're going to get through the big Pro Series fields, you're going through long races, it's always going to favour the better ones. But as you say, there's a group just below the hitmen who probably aren't that likely to get called out first, could slip under the radar a bit like Decky did last year. Maybe you just win a few matches at the end and you get your first silverware, so it's a great chance. Or maybe you come out early and win a few, because I mean, as Callum was saying there, I mean, obviously slightly as a joke, but you win 3 and you get in the hot seat. I mean, that's the way to start your day really, then your job's done for a while.
Yeah, one of the changes from last year's event, if you weren't with us right at the start here, if you do win 3 matches, you have to sit in the hot seat, and whilst you're in that hot seat, you cannot be picked. So until somebody else wins 3 matches, you will remain. So if if Callum was to win 3, or Joe wins 3 here, they're in that seat and they're there until someone else does it, and that could be a long time. you know, you could see yourself through. I mean, it sort of happened last year with Wad because of, you know, he knocked out Mick Hill and Gareth Potts back to back. No one wanted to touch him again until the final. But you can't be touched if you're in that hot seat, which I think is a massive bonus and a great change, I think, from Paul.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's everything about this tournament is sort of fun from the start, but that's an extra dimension to it. And it's going to be a well-deserved one. If you win your first 3 matches, you've definitely earned a bit of time off.
Yeah, last year, for those wondering, you got 1 match grace. Now you get potentially a ton of grace on it. We're back underway here, and Callum has a decent chance here on reds, but those 2 on the left-hand side need some attention.
Good start here, obviously crucial. Shorter races than last year, just playing a race to 4, 20-minute match clock. Can get away from you very quickly. In this format, the first frame is obviously important, but it's really the second frame that's the absolutely key one, because if you can open up a couple of frames lead. But the first one not on the board yet for Callum.
Big shot he took on there, but you can see why. If he makes the red, he wins the frame in his own mind because he's dealt with the hardest ball. He's on the next hardest ball, and you're pretty much out once that's done. So that's why he's gone for the double, and he's played it in a really clever way. He hasn't given away anything easy here.
No, when you've been out on the table, you just want an easy first chance, and this is far from that. Trying to play the safety, ideally trying to get the cue ball in behind the yellow on the cushion, but just tight to the bottom cushion's almost as good. Callum can obviously see the ball to the top right corner. He may have a gap along the line in the middle of the table to the one over the top left corner as well. Doesn't necessarily need to go for anything too adventurous at this point, whereas opponent's still got some balls tied up.
Rattle that one in. Now it's a chance to go and win the frame. They are there.
That was a good shot because it was a ball he needed to get. He was going to leave a pot on had he missed it. Now it's gone in. Great chance for the first frame. This ball goes to the left centre.
Ooh. The double wasn't as big a surprise. It wasn't an easy double. That one was a major surprise. Early nerves here from Callum Singleton.
And now much better chance for Joe. First open position at the table. Still got the 2 clusters at the bottom, but he's got 3 open balls at this end of the table to plan a route.
He can deal with them straight away. Could see the argument with maybe dealing with the other yellow in the top half of the table, then trying to get himself back to this angle, but equally I quite like just attacking it straight away. Yellow to the centre and into the 2 problem balls.
Be careful not to hit this too hard. If this throws wide, he could miss the 2 yellows. So it played at a controlled weight.
I think that's okay. It's not, I mean, he could have hoped for better, but equally, he's on the yellow to bottom right, and he can open up, well, he has opened up the one on the left-hand side. He has to deal with the bottom one before the top one. It's doable. Not ideal. Must have been playing on the bottom one there. Could go for the plant. Problem with the yellow at the top of the table, it doesn't really connect to anything but the plant again. Not easily anyway.
He's going to have to power this in if he wants good position. He needed to come out just a bit further so he had a clear path to the lower of the 2 yellows. You can't quite see the potting angle from there.
I think the way he played that though tells us he's comfortable with the plant. I think otherwise why would you get rid of the one at the top of the table first? You would have wanted to be on the bottom one and then the top one. So yeah, I think he's doesn't like the plant. So yeah, he was exactly as you said. He was trying to get on the bottom one and hasn't. He's fortunate if the yellows block the red to right centre. You surprised he's not taking the plant on there, considering the safety? Obviously, if he gets the snooker there, then you can argue it's a great shot. But if he doesn't, he's kind of given away a great chance.
Yeah, well, I think it's the fact that there wasn't an easy safety. I mean, obviously now, as it's been proved, he is back to the table. There's every chance Callum could have just cleared up from there, in which case Joe would have regretted not going for it. Still faced with pretty much the same equation, though. He's still got the problem of the 2 balls on the left side. They're an easier plant to play from where he is now, and of course with the ball hanging over the right centre, it doesn't matter terribly if he doesn't get position on the top ball.
Yeah, very good. And he was trying to play it in a clever way where he wasn't leaving the red over top left. He may have just covered it, but it would have been a fairly easy one cushion for Callum. But it's gone in, and now the frame is there.
Yeah, that one good shot struggled in, but he'll be very relieved to see that down because the remaining ball's just hanging, waiting for him. Suddenly looking a whole lot more confident. Didn't have to play that ball like that, was played perfect position onto the last yellow. Of course, the fact that a bit of time was taken up with the misses and the safety exchanges there means that the one frame more valuable. This is what Joe Connolly needed when you're new out to this arena. Just getting that first frame on the board, so valuable. Does not want to go 2 frames behind with over half the match clock used up, which is a possible outcome.
Well, he got the 8 ball in motion, but it's left a messy layout. He has made a ball, so he has a chance, but it's far from a good chance. Doesn't have a good pot on apart from the yellow down the cushion, I don't think. Was having a really good look to see if he could see the furthest right red at the bottom end of the table. If he can't, then yeah, yellows is his choice, but yellows aren't the choice to go for.
No choice but to go for that, so went for it in a positive way. Got some problems now though. 3 yellows blocked on the left-hand side.
Here's a question for you though, Mark. If he wins that opening frame, does he take that yellow on or does he play safe? Because the yellows are no good here.
Well, I think it's changed the whole complexion of the match, the way that first frame went. Not just the fact that Joe won it, but the fact that Callum had chances.
I mean, Joe should be sat in his chair here, being very happy. He's like, keep going, Callum. And he decides to pull back. He probably couldn't even see the potting angle, but what was he going to do if he could?
Generally a very good safety player, Callum. With the young breed of players coming through, he's one of the more safety-minded ones. Trouble is, when you're playing a short race like this, you can't afford to get embroiled in too long a battle because you burn up too much of the time. When you're the favourite, that's not necessarily a good thing to do. Ultimately, though, you can't get too caught up in the match situation. The fact that this is a different format from usual, at the end of the day, you've got to get out there and win the frames of pool still. Yeah, he's still playing pool. But it's just a mental challenge, I think. If for everybody that plays their first match, especially early in the tournament, and obviously it couldn't be earlier than the first match, I think the challenge just kind of believe that you can still go and win those 3 matches, get yourself into the safety. I think that's the challenge here. Well, yeah, it's a very simple equation, isn't it? There's nothing other than winning all 3 that's any good. Like, no sort of moment of drama is really going to make up. I suppose you can call out a bounty and win one of the bounties, but basically you've just got to get yourself back out of the arena, sat on that chair ideally. Yeah, and I think the other thing that's the mental challenge more from Joe's perspective is that, you know, if he's qualified through to a professional tournament, normally your first round matches wouldn't necessarily be played under the eyes of the cameras, but also he's got 30 of the best players in the world sat there watching him play, and as much as it shouldn't be a challenge, that is a challenge. Yeah, well, especially as he's a guy that isn't going to necessarily know everyone in the room and they won't know him. He's going to want to come out and put on a good show. And just the logistics of it, he's won the qualifier in Ireland, he's obviously had a long way to travel for the event. Puts a bit of extra pressure on sticking around for as long as you can. Red at the bottom of the table, obvious problem. Does it go to the bottom right? If it does, it's probably perfect to play on it now. If not, it needs to be moved. And this is the first real queuing shot we've seen. It's not a difficult shot, but from a bit more distance. Okay, that's nice. Can come on and off the cushion. I'd love to catch the yellow rather than the red. Catch the red, you could snooker yourself. Catch the yellow, you should leave yourself on the red. This table tends to play a bit more slippery than the outer table, so if he's not played in it much, he's got to get hold of this cue ball. Very easy just to slip round the 2. Got into it too much. It's absolutely, as you say though, isn't it? That's a player that, you know, trying to get a feel for the table out there when you've not had any experience. It's
that's a tough shot to play. It's a real touch shot.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones you kind of know it's going to be slippery, so you end up overcompensating the other way around. He's got himself in trouble here though. No pot, no easy safety. Does he go for the aggressive double? No, just goes for the safety, but left it well short. Was trying to get the white glued to that yellow, which is where he needed it to be. Very easy return here for Callum. Easy enough hit for Joe, but very hard to hit this ball in a way that you don't leave multiple yellows on. You can go around 1 or 2 cushions at the bottom of the table, or he can go up and down the table. Looks like he's going to try and play around 2 cushions and kick the red out. He's going to try to give himself a chance to pot this in the middle, but anything short of potting it isn't going to be a good outcome for him. Used his extension, so taking plenty of time to get the angle right. And again, that's one of those ones that when you're not familiar with the table, that cue ball can slip at an angle you're not expecting.
Just what Callum needed though, isn't it? Now a quick chance to get himself all square.
And this is just a massive lifeline, isn't it? The easiest position imaginable, almost a guaranteed frame here. And also just starts to put some doubt in Joe's mind. He knows he had a chance there. Linked up so well. Yellow was always going to be left to last over the middle. Just drop it in for the 8 ball. I think more than anything, this is just a relief for Callum. We've played 12.5 minutes already in this match. 2 very scrappy frames by his standards.
I think it's exciting for the viewers, but probably a little bit more daunting for the players.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great format for the viewers because it's basically an anything can happen format. Like, really anybody can beat anybody, and of course we've got more players this year, so a necessary change to get through all the games.
How about that? Ball's flying in everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be happy with that break. Not the conventional way of doing it. Had a lot of topspin on the cue ball, powered through the pack after contact, which is the opposite of what a lot of people are trying to do, but made a good solid contact. And this is crucial now. He's scrapped that first frame. He had a chance that he didn't take in the second frame. To start playing a more open, natural game if possible.
Just the 8 ball here, isn't it? Where's it going? Does it have a? Is there a room for him? He's having a good look. Does it go left centre? Does it go through the gap bottom right? Don't think so. Both counts.
Yeah, you've got to work back from that 8 ball. Had a few different options that he could have left as the last ball, but he's now pretty much committed to taking these 2 at the top of the table. So he has got an angle here if he needs to open up the 8 ball.
Be lovely if he can go bottom cushion into it. Yeah, that's what he's looking at. Doesn't really matter. I mean, catching the yellow full ball would be lovely, but even if he was to catch the red and yellow together, it would be fine. Don't miss it though. Looked like he put a trace aside on that and the natural would have worked.
Yeah, I don't know if it was unwanted side, but through a lot wider than he wanted. He's got a problem now because there's a narrow gap. He's got to miss the ball that's on the cushion nearest to the red if he's going to swing the white out. Just find that gap. That yellow always played big on the bottom cushion.
Could be a very significant shot coming up here in the context of this match. Not on this 8 ball.
Yeah, this is a big moment. If he'd have just nudged that yellow the way he played it, opened the 8 ball up, then could have cleared from the break, and he'd have been feeling very happy about life.
A couple of times we've seen Joe, I mean, obviously small sample size, or only 2.5 frames in here, but when he's had an opportunity to go expansive and try and make something happen, he's kind of pulled back. The problem with playing safe in that situation is the chance of getting another go at this 8 ball is probably very slim. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think there was too much aggression he could do there, but you thought he'd try and find something.
Yeah, I agree, because if he's expecting to get left any kind of open shot at the 8-ball, he could be waiting a long time, because Callum's got a lot of balls on the table. It gives him the tactical upper hand.
But you can argue this is a better chance than previous, even though he's snookered, because you could have got that solid full ball or three-quarter ball that maybe would have got it going towards the right centre, but it should cost him the frame. And now that we're into the final 5, 15 seconds a shot, Callum won't rush his way through this, but it is 15 seconds a shot, and he'll have the next break.
Yeah, Callum's got to be very happy with the way the last couple of frames have gone. It hasn't been all of his own making. He's relied on getting gifted quite a few chances already this match. Sometimes that's what you need, though. First match of the day, just get this one out of the way from his perspective, get yourself into the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. Performances don't matter. Results are all that really all that really count, rather. I do think Callum's a player that he gets down on performances regardless of results. If you feel like he wants to play perfect ball all the time, you just can't.
No, I mean, especially this kind of match. I mean, if it's later, you know, Callum's the kind of guy, he might go for a big call out one of the bounties later on, and then it will be about performance, but this is a match he's just going to get through. To say, just going about this in a nice measured way, will be under the 3-minute mark, so there'll be time for one more frame, but probably the next one will be the last one. Wow, be happy that white has just drifted far enough to the side that he can still pot this. There was a moment it looked like he was tracking down the table and could have ended up touching the 8-ball. Thin one, but not hard. So Callum Singleton needed multiple chances, as he had throughout this match. 2-1 now. Just under 3 minutes remaining.
Even though it was a terrible decision from a playing perspective.
Yeah, it was done with a smile on his face, but didn't play out. I think for Callum, I mean, rationally, the play you would think has to be to pick one of the weaker players, so one of the qualifiers that hasn't had time out here, get yourself through that match, and then you can make the call. You can either go to the random draw, or if he wants to go for the big call, you'd think the third match is the time to do it, because then you've just got one match, you win it, you're in the hot seat, you know, go big or go home. Whereas the second match, you feel it's more just one he needs to get through.
I also think that, and this is a good decision, I asked when Callum played in frame 2 and he broke and it was horrible, would he play safe if he was in front? Well, this time we get the answer, because he is. Obviously the match clock is very different as well, but in my opinion quite right to go safe there. But yeah, I think it's very different for each player, because I think if it was Joe coming in as a qualifier, he might look at it and go, do you know what, I'll take on Tom Cousins in a race to 4, try and get myself the bounty, try and get the victory, because he's not that likely to win the tournament coming in as a qualifier. Don't get me wrong, he can, but he's probably not thinking that confidently. Therefore, why not go for that big moment and try and win some cash?
Well, and of course, it's your only guaranteed moment. Like, whoever wins this is going to have a free choice. There's still the entire playing field there. They can choose any match that they wanted to play today. There's no guarantee they'll have a second chance. For Callum, that sort of novelty factor of playing a big player out in this match arena is obviously much less of a factor, because he's already played all the big players probably at some point in his career. There's always the dilemma as well of, do you go for the qualifiers that you're sort of familiar with, that are a known quantity, or if you see there's probably a name or two on there that you won't be so familiar with. There's a couple of guys that aren't regular players on the Ultimate Pool circuit. Do you go for one of those, but not quite knowing they might turn out to be some wild card that's better than you're expecting?
Or do you have a player, even if they're a very established professional, do you have a player that you have a really good record of, that you feel like every time, for whatever reason, you end up getting the victory over them? Do you feel like, is that the way to go? Of course, it's not over yet. 46 seconds here for Joe to make something happen. It's not a good layout for him, but at least he has the chance at the table here. And that's good, coming high on this yellow. Yellow at the top you can get to if you get to the top cushion, so this is a real chance.
Got to go though, can't take his time too much. Just needs to get these balls opened. He's got 4 pots still.
Bounce, needs a bounce. Oh, it's a touch short.
He's just got to get down and play this. Even if he has to play it cushion first and off the red, he's got to have a go at this. Time's running out.
Oh, he wouldn't have been on the yellow at the top anyway. That is going to hurt him. That is going to end the match. That is going to give victory in our very first game here at the Last Man Standing to Callum Singleton.
Cal, we have got yourself a choice because you can go to the random draw if you want. I know you know how that feels. I know you'd put a lot of people out there on skates if you did. Or will you be calling out? What's your choice, first of all?
No, I'll go random draw.
Random draw. We're going for a random draw from Callum Singleton. Oh, wow.
I'll change my mind.
Can you change your mind?
Yeah.
This is your show, mate. What do you want to do?
I'll pick Decky then, because he's got a lot to say. He's got a lot to say.
Declan Brennan has talked himself into a match.